Thank you. Mr. President, members of the legislature, I don't think there's been enough discussion on this particular amendment, so I will reconsider it, because we're going to be here till 11:59 anyway. And I think it is significant that the bill is before us in the first place to divert money from the general fund to this highway trust fund and the allocation boondoggle. I call it a boondoggle because it goes to the locals. Now, some people in Omaha are upset because the money is earmarked for road building. Should it or should it not be? It's coming from sales tax. Should the sales tax, once it goes from the state to the county and the city, be spent in the way that the city and the county think, or should it carry an earmark from the state so that it can only go to the road building contractors, such as Hawkins, who has built a very shoddy road on the interstate? It's out there for you to see. They don't care. They might have painted over their name on their equipment, but I think it still says Hawkins, because it doesn't make any difference. They got this state in the palm of their hand. If there was some way that accountability could be imposed on these officials, I feel differently about a lot of the things that I have questions and concerns about. But when you look at the way things go, these officials don't feel accountable to anybody. The only reason they will make certain admissions about violating their own standards when they support an overpass to nowhere is because an investigative reporter revealed it, exposed them, and left them no way out. So they had to make an acknowledgement. Had that investigative report not been done, they would have continued to violate their rules, their regulations, their standards, whatever they violated, to placate a well-placed political person. That's what they did, and that's why they did it. Senator Gay was talking about this overpass perhaps being the location of an interchange, and I bet him money, but he won't live long enough to have to pay or collect, that there's not going to be an interchange there. There is not going to be an interchange there. He probably knows it, but the rest of you don't. And I had said that as we get toward the end, Senator Friend is not going to be talking a lot. He's going to be walking with the shoulders hunched, looking weary, drawn and drained. Even when he was sitting up there, he looked like he was tired. And he's the one who was really woofing this morning, wasn't he? People were having to put their fingers in their ears. Down in the offices, they had to turn the volume down on the set when Senator Friend cut loose. And now, you don't have the mouse that roared. That would be unfair. You have the lion that squeaks. Wasn't he roaring today? He knows it. Looks more like Mel Gibson when he smiles with that boyish innocence than any other time. I know how to get him. I can get him whenever I want to. But where has he been? Quiet. And I've been going on and on and on. On and on and on. And will continue. I said I will take us to 11:59, and you thought I was joking. You thought I was shooting blanks. You thought I was blowing smoke. And you thought if we did go that far,
1 minute,
I wouldn't be able to speak. My stamina would be gone. I'd be having somebody slipping me some water by IVs, notably Senator McDonald, because she's the only one who's close enough to do that. But that's not going to happen. I've been doing this for 37 years, and you all are probably saying he ought to be worn out by now, but no, that's not the case. Nature has a way of rewarding those who make use of what she gives them. If you use an ability, it is sharpened. If you use muscles, they strengthen. If you use your brain, unless like me, you're lead damaged. You will improve and increase your ability in the area of mental acumen. That'll never happen to me. I've reached my maximum and I'm just trying to hold on. But that's not the case with the rest of you. So you all ought to be up here debating these things with me. Now, if we can have this kind of debate.
Time.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Chambers. Up the motion. Senator Chambers, you're recognized to open on the motion to indefinitely postpone LB 305.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the legislature. We are trudging and slouching our way to cloture. But if you get cloture before 11:59, then the Speaker won't be able to keep his promise. He'll have to let you out of here ahead of time. But there's an A bill, too, so that can carry us into tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow. I'm looking forward to this. I want to see how you all are wilting or holding up at 11:59. I told you what I'd be doing, and I told you what y'all would be doing. Look at you, tired, can't focus. People can't even get deals together because there's an inability to focus and concentrate, Senator Aguilar. But remember, this is just the first relatively long day. You all ought to be doing this with me to get yourself in shape. You think if you sit down and are sedentary that you're going to be in better condition next week? No, you'll get in better condition if you move around, get accustomed to it, exercise a little bit. Then you'll be in fine fettle in the way that I am. And if you want to know what fettle means, ask Senator, or I guess Senator Ingles has gone home, but ask him what fettle refers to. What I would like to do is kill this bill, which is not going to happen. But I think some things should be put into the record. Some things have been put into the record. Senator Fisher has not addressed them. Senator Gay attempted to address them on this irresponsible road building, on the shabby, shoddy work that was done. Too bad Senator Howard's gone home. If this had happened with the Department of Health and Human Services, everybody would be up in arms, wouldn't they? Wouldn't you? Because they're an easy target, and you go after them. But this involves road builders, the construction industry, so you're quiet as mice. Or do you think I'm lying about the shabby building that I say occurred on the interstate between Omaha and Lincoln? Then why are not you upset? We're going to have people yippity-yapping around here some more in the session about HHS is not doing this. HHS is not doing that. Well, what about the roads department? You hated the roads department? They get a free pass? You talk about cutting programs, doing away with waste, creating efficiency. You don't even know if they have a quality control division or individual in the roads department. You don't even know that. Nobody knows it. But you watch HHS with a microscope, don't you? But it's not because you're concerned about children. You don't want to do something to put money in the pockets or leave it in the pockets of those families who have poor children, because that involves tax. And you don't care about the children when it comes to that. But when you can just attack somebody, you can bring something that doesn't help anybody, doesn't hurt anybody, doesn't do anything, that doesn't cost anything, then you're for that. That's what you're for. Drive the highway, and when you see the shabby construction, ask yourself why you don't say anything about it. You dare not. They just push you aside. Getting back to what I said earlier about the legislature having prerogatives, and the legislature should have these people, if any kowtowing is to be done, kowtowing to the legislature rather than vice versa, which is the case now. Senator Rakes wants this money to go to the trust fund and the allocation fund, but he's not too concerned about the shabby road building and the using of their influence to get federal money to build an overpass to nowhere. Senator Gay has a prayer and a hope that an interchange is going to be built in the vicinity of that overpass. And in his absence, I said I'd bet him some money that an interchange will never be constructed in that area. There's no justification for it. There are other places where if an interchange is to be built, are the locations where that should happen. But you just go along with any and everything the road builders want. So next time y'all start jumping on HHS, I might have a word or two to say or a question or two to ask. If you say you're interested and concerned about the children, why are you not concerned about them when it comes to the sales tax or other things? It's just piecemealed in the way that that other bill that was just moved by way of cloture was put together. It's cobbled together. They call that jerry building, where you just in an ad hoc, slipshod, spur of the moment, flying by the seat of your pants, throw something together. If beavers built dams the way you all constructed that bill, they wouldn't stop a drop of water from moving one place in the river or the lake or the stream to another. It would be so full of holes, it would just be a collection of sticks, and that's all. Read the paper tomorrow when some reporter explains to you what the legislature did. The reporters and the editors told you what the highway department has done, but you don't even care because you know what your marching orders are and you know what you're going to do. There's a departed senator who gets credit for being the father of road building. He happened to have married a person who was connected with the road building industry, and she influenced him to do all the things he did on the road building and the road programs. Y'all need to be aware of how things started and what led people to do the things they do, and then they're not lionized so much. But we're not supposed to talk about things like that. But I will. And I'm going to keep talking about how poorly the roads department is functioning. And I imagine there are other people aware of it. I'm going to find some comments that were made that contradict what Senator Gay was talking about in terms of how great this Flug Road is. There are a lot of people who think that that was a boondoggle, and they condemned the Department of Roads for what they did. And some people might say it's not state money. I'm saying they prostituted the department to support a project that they never should have supported, and they acknowledge it. If they followed their own standards, they would not have done it. But who are they accountable to? Nobody. What do? Whatever they want to do. They're whale glad that the legislature's one that they deal with, and they're elephant glad to tell you where to go if you have the audacity to question anything they do, but you're not going to do that. You don't inform yourself, and they count on it. I drive that road twice a day, and I see it. So I know they're not doing the job they should. You all drive some roads that might be something like driving over a washboard. And the same ones who did that will continue getting road building contracts. Anybody would do that. If you can get a lot of money from the state, use inferior materials, inferior workmanship, and get paid, and then when it falls apart, the state pays part of the cost of repairing it, sure, you do that. You say this is business and everybody has to look out for their interests, and those with the state are not doing so, so I'm going to take advantage of it and make me some money, and that's what they're doing.
1 minute.
Things are as they are because there's a lot of yakety-yakking in here and no follow-through. You talk about being careful with the people's money, except when it comes to road building. You're not careful there, and that is out there in the open for you to see. They put it in your face and say, do something about it. And you say, okay, by God, we'll do something about it. we'll pay you more money to fix it like it should have been in the first place. And the contractor say, oh boy, you sure showed me. I don't want to mess with you again until I mess it up again. And then I want you to scare me by giving me some more money, because I sure get scared when you do that. And that is what's happening. So where's this concern about the money? Senator Friend doesn't even, he's talking about Keynesian. Is it Keynes? Keynesian?
Time.
Thank you, Mr. President.
In here, it's getting late, Senator Chambers. I'll give some time to rest it to you.
Senator Chambers, you have 3 minutes and 50 seconds.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Senator Waldman. And I'm glad that Senator Friend, every time I look back there, he's gone. Senator Friend tongue lashing me. If we were in the boxing world, you know what his nickname would be? Canvasback. Senator Canvasback. And he'd be saying, Senator Chambers, you sure are tall. I'd say, not really. It's just the perspective you have from your position. You know, when you're flat on your back and looking up, everything looks tall to you. But I can take the tongue lashing and I can continue. I must. And I said I would, and I shall. But remember, Senator Friend's going to have to get some more script, because we're going to be doing this more than just tonight. He's going to have to get some new material, or he's going to have to do as I stated, record it, and when they call on him, click that tape recorder on and let it do the job. There will be the opportunity for me to give some history lessons, as Senator Friend gave us on some subject back there earlier. I have a sense of humor on occasion, but I also have a sense of purpose. And I don't forget what that purpose is. Whether you all realize it or not, this is a part of a softening up process. If you have a fighter who is known as a puncher, he tries, if he can, to knock you out every time he lands a punch. A boxer will inflict damage over a period of time, but never, in many instances, come close to knocking you unconscious. He will outpoint you. He will move faster than you can move. Now you see him, now you don't. The one who can box and punch is the one who usually can prevail, but not always. There's what's known as a lucky punch or a sucker punch. So you don't know what the outcome is likely to be. But when you've been in this particular game, as long as I have, and you can assess people, you can come out ahead. That doesn't mean win every vote. It's clear I don't do that. But I know where I'm going to be at the end of the day, and I know where other people are going to be, and I know where they're not going to be. Some people can start out like a house of fire in the beginning of a race, and before they get halfway through, they've lost, they've run out of gas. Because you cannot run a marathon like you'd run a dash. The body isn't engineered to function like that. You have to learn to pace yourself. Some people decide to get on an exercise program, and they do some of everything. They burn up the gym, but then they don't want to go back, because it has to be a day after day after day matter. And they put everything into it, not realizing that they're not going to maintain. Since they cannot maintain and sustain, they get discouraged. People who've been trying to hang with me tonight and today are going to be disheartened. But you know where some of them feel good? They're not going to have to deal with me all day. I will have to be dealing with all of you all day, but each one of you won't have to deal with me all day with me. You can hand off the baton. You can sit back and do nothing. You can go to the lounge, but I will be here. I guess it's like Tiger Woods. He doesn't win every match, but everybody has to try to beat him.
Time.
Maybe one will beat him today, but the same one won't beat him twice. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator.
Members, I guess I'm not like Senator Friend. I'm not impressed by how long somebody can talk, because where I come from, it usually isn't how long you talk, it's whether you say anything after you've done all of that. So,
Mr. President, members of the legislature, even Senator Loudon's getting testy back there trying to be clever. Trying to be clever, like a lead balloon. I'm not impressed because somebody talks a long time with what you say, if you said anything. Well, sometimes if people would listen, they'd understand what had been said. Yeah, when you push, I push back. When does he ever say anything? He talks, but he says little. That's the nature of the legislature. Now, you all ain't going to think it's anything for him to say something to me, but it's something for me to say something back. Have you all heard the term field of honor? You know what that had to do with? The place where foolish men went out and had a duel, where one was going to kill the other, and that is honor. That's nonsense. So some people feel a sense of honor compels them to say things that don't make sense. But I'll tell you what, I'll invite anybody to read the transcript of my discussions on the floor and read the transcripts of others' discussions on the floor, and we'll see what makes sense. I want to draw Senator Loudon into more of the discussion. He's the chairman of an important committee, and we're entitled to his wisdom. Do you think I'm being facetious? Senator Loudon and I had a couple of very serious, in-depth discussions other than on this floor. So he knows whether I know anything in reality or not. And he knows whether I have advice to offer which has validity or doesn't. He knows that. But out here, he's got to show you all, I'm tough. Well, that's all right. He can join Senator Friend. But we're going to be here close to midnight. And you hear how spunky Senator Fisher is because she's not going to have that many bills. And that's why she speaks in the way she does. We're going to have this bill. We're going to get cloture because it's a bill backed by the highway industry. I'm going to see how many of you all's bills will automatically get 33 votes. And you should be able to get them because you've been playing the sheep role for everybody else. Let them be the sheep for you. Do you think they will? Why do you think I asked for record votes? So y'all can see how people are voting. Then when your turn comes around, are they going to be there for you? Are they going to be there for every bill? Will it be necessary to do that for every bill? If you've got 25 days and you've got 25 bills, and each bill might take most of a day, how many bills are you going to get through? And remember, they got to go through 3 stages of debate. Not all of them, but there's still some on general file. So start to figuring and calculating and seeing how many hours you're going to have and how many of you are going to want to be here all these hours every day. Some have bailed out and gone home already. And others of you are going to fall by the wayside too because you can't cut the mustard and you don't have the stamina. And I told you to test me. Tonight is nothing. Let's see how it is several days from now. And if you're going to be telling the speaker, do we have to stay here that long? And more of you are going to be winding up in the lounge. And you're not going to know what's happening. You're going to vote for things because people tell you to. And if somebody asks you, what did you vote for? You won't know. Because you can't focus and you can't cut the mustard and you can't do the job. But once again, you don't have to. It's not required of you. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to pass a single bill. You don't have to debate any issue. You don't have to pass or cast a vote that makes sense because you've been privileged all of your life. You've never had to meet a standard, and you're not held to a standard. If you were, we would have a better quality legislature. We'd have a higher quality of legislation. We'd have people paying attention and doing what they ask people to send them here to do. But that's not going to happen. And this is why I know about white affirmative action, where qualification has nothing to do with the position you hold. And if you look at the way things go here, you cannot gainsay or deny what I'm saying. Thank you, Mr. President.
All senators are present and accounted for. Members, the first motion is the motion to invoke cloture. All those in favor, vote aye. Strike that. We shall have a roll call vote in regular order. Mr. Clerk?
Voting yes, Senator Shimmick. Voting no, Senator Stutzman. Not voting, Senator Sinwicki. Voting yes, Sir Wallman. Voting yes, Sir White. Voting yes, Sir Whiteman. Voting yes. 44 ayes, 2 nays, Mr. President, on the motion to invoke cloture.
The motion to invoke cloture is adopted.